All right, so we talked a little bit about kind of especially the adding and subtracting for decomposing numbers. One of the other ways that we need to also think about decomposing numbers is their factors, okay? And this is an interesting setup. So if I have something like 720, okay? And I did pick 720 specifically because it has lots of factors, okay? So there's the factor tree, right, where we do this and we do pair factors. Then there's also where we actually list each pair of factors, or a factor list, okay? I like to do that, each pair of factors, because then you kind of think about them one at a time, okay? 1 and 720. This is an important factor pair that sometimes gets forgotten for a lot of the numbers that students deal with, okay? Because this, all of them have 1 and itself. Even 1 has 1 times 1, okay? So these are all a multiplication fact. Now I don't know my 720s, but I could definitely do my 1s all the way up to 720, okay? Going down on my left side, I just continue to count up by 1, checking all along as I go, okay? So 2 and then 360. 3 and 240. 4, okay? And see, I can continue this process all the way through. And so we're going to get, eventually, a lot of factor pairs set up. This one goes at 5, and that's going to be 144. And this goes 6. Now, 6 and 3 have the relationship, right? And this is where we can start to talk about some of those. If it's a factor of 2 and a factor of 3, then it's also going to be a factor of 6. We'll go over divisibility rules in formality in a little bit, okay? So, 20. Now, does 7 go into this, okay? 1 through 6 all have fairly easy divisibility rules. 7, not so much. This is where the decomposing of the number comes into play, okay? And so I really want to show this one to you. When I look at a number and the divisibility of it, I may look and say, hey, this whole thing, I don't know if it's divisible by 7, but 700 is divisible by 7, right? That one I can check. It's done, it's good, it's easy. Is 20 divisible by 7? That one, I don't know my 7s all the way up to 720, but I do know my 7s up to 20, and this does not work, okay? This chunk of it does, and this chunk of it doesn't. If both of these are not divisible, then the whole thing is not divisible, okay? So this is where I pull off a chunk that I do know is divisible, okay? I'm decomposing this number into 720, checking that divisibility of each. If it doesn't work for both, okay, then it doesn't work for the whole number. Now, if I did this in a weird way, like 600 and 120, right? That's another way I can decompose this number. Neither one of these are divisible by 7, okay? So I really divided it off in an unhelpful way. So how you can decompose, because you could decompose 720 hundreds of different ways, okay? And only some of them are actually helpful to us. So I picked 700 because I know 700 is divisible by 7. You know, that's 100, right? So being able to pick out some nice things. So this one is useless altogether, okay? We want to pick out something that I know is going to be divisible by 7 in that first part. So at least I've got part of it checked. And then the smaller part, I can do that work, or I know the parts and pieces of it, okay? So being able to do that, I can get each of these, and I can continue then making my big list of all these factors, and there's going to be a lot of factor pairs, okay? And each of these have and serve a purpose in the end for different things that we may need to do about factoring polynomials or being able to do square roots and stuff like that. So all of those are just important for us to know and be aware of.